Introduction to social media. We're about to do a series on social media traffic videos, and there are some common elements in what you're going to see in the videos that you'll want to consider for all the social networks. Now, we're going to be covering six of the major sites: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Now, we could cover some of the image sites like Instagram and Foursquare, but all these elements are pretty much going to be the same, even if you were to cover those. Now, we're not going to cover those image sites. They are social networks. They are viable. They are up and coming, but you still basically want to make sure you are participating on the major six sites that we've mentioned prior to this. The first thing you're going to want to do, and probably the most important, is to make sure your entire profile is filled out. So every place where you have the opportunity to put some information about your site, about your company, about what you're offering, you want to take that opportunity. Any place where you can put images or graphics, you want to take the opportunity and put them in there. Most of the, if there's a problem in social media when marketers first get started, it's not fully filling out their profile or using them, without images or without pictures. You want to make sure that you have the entire profile filled out and that you really do look like a real person, because that is the key to being able to connect on social media. People want to connect with real people. If your profile's not filled out, then you are almost saying that it's not important enough for you to reveal who you are in order to connect. And that's not going to lend you long-term results on social media. Now, there are 8 things that you want to consider, called the 8 C's in social media. Context. In other words, you want to make sure that you are focusing on a subject area or a niche. We're going to be talking about market research, but focus on how you build your profile. Focus on how you build your following. Focus on what you share. Context is important, and you want to keep things centered around the context for which you want to get people back to your website in, or what your website's about, or what your offers are about. Context, connections. So you should be constantly making connections, constantly getting people to be one of your friends or followers. You should be doing that on a continual basis. That is an ongoing process, and you need to grow the number of people who you're connected to on social media, because that will widen your reach. Every person has their own personal network. Every time they share your content in their network, you get more exposure. So you need to be continually making connections. You should be commenting whenever someone comments on something that you post in terms of information. And you should be commenting on things that are not your information. So one of the ways in which you connect with people is to comment on their posting or comment on their video. Wherever there's content and you want to really get to know someone, you want to use social media to do it, one of the ways you do that is to be commenting on what it is that they post. Fourth, company. Typically, you'll get the opportunity to post or to have a business and personal profile. You'll want to use the best of both. So where you get the opportunity to have a company page as well as your personal profile, make sure that you are maximizing your use of both, especially if the purpose of your being on social media is to get traffic. Capturing. Capturing means that you need to have a way ready to get names and email addresses. So you should be funneling people to a capture page, or funneling people to something on that platform that will allow you to collect their names and email addresses when they're ready to get more information from you. This is not something that you should be doing once you're getting traffic. You should be doing this before you ever get a person to visit any of your social platforms or website. You should have a way of directing people so that you can capture their names and email addresses. Combining and condensing. There are a lot of tools available that will help you to manage social media. It's almost impossible to do all 6 major sites and the minor ones, and to do it consistently, and to do it with a fair amount of activity without some tools. There are tools available. Wherever you have them, take advantage of them so that you can maximize your presence. Consistency is the key. So whatever it is that you're going to be doing, even if you post once per day on all your major social networks, be consistent about that. When people know what to expect, they will then start to gravitate towards your content. Most of the time, if people do not necessarily, you feel like you're putting out good effort and good content, it's probably because they don't know when to find you, they don't know when to catch you, they don't know when you're going to post something. Be consistent. Stay on a schedule. Be consistent about what you're doing on social media. And finally, commerce. It's recognition that all of the social platforms are in the business of making money. They are going to change things, and you should be ready for the inevitable situation where they're going to want you to pay in order to reach customers on their platform. That should be something you should be planning for. That should be something that you should anticipate. And when social networks change and they evolve, they do because they need to make money and they're in it for profit. So expect to be able to have to pay for something that you might be doing free now. Expect to have to pay for it. So you want to start building up your following. You want to start building up your ability to contact people, but you have to do that with the anticipation that at some point the social network will be attempting to move you into paid advertising. Now, there are always going to be methods and short-term loopholes that work for a period of time. It doesn't mean that that they're invalid, but it only means that they're going to work for a short period of time. The things that we've talked about in this video will always work. They will work they work now and in the future. If you take this approach towards social media, you will be able to get traffic and to get that traffic continually, and you don't have to worry and look over your shoulder if the social network changes something that seems to be adverse to you. Finally, some of the best advice that marketers are providing or social media experts are giving to people is that if you're new to social media, you want to master one network first. So if your company benefits the most or your product benefits the most from Facebook, master that. Twitter, YouTube, whatever the social network is, master one at a time. Understand how the conversations flow. Understand how something goes viral. Then go to move to the other social networks to add in your what we call combining and condensing, or the tools that will help you to manage social media. So with that, thanks, and I will see you in the next video.